It's Thursday. It's 8 o'clock. It's the Big Metal Detecting Podcast. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're all fine and dandy this evening. Tis I, Mr. David Sadler, on the big... we've reconnected. Lost it a moment there. Anyway, it's me, it's Dave Sadler, it's the Big Metal Detecting Podcast. I'll play the intro again because I went unconnected. And that doesn't seem to be working. Anyway, hope you're all well this evening. My name's Dave Sadler of the Big Metal Detecting Podcast, of the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine, and of several more things that we've created of late. So apologies, I've got this bloody mic on tonight. Sadly, we're getting a lot of reverb from the other microphone, and I'm also seeing that the green screen's being a bit of a bottom behind me as well. So for those who are watching, anyway, nice to see you all this evening. Here even. Looking forward to another great show tonight with our guest shortly, Mr. Adrian Gaylor. And in the meantime, news, views, and interviews. Let's get them out of the way. First of all, I found some information last night, which I found absolutely fascinating. Statistics, and I've gone through the statistics in length, and where I actually found when I've actually published the report on the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine Facebook website, and it's been sent down to all over the place. Anyway, a professional survey firm called Populous conducted an online national poll among 2,071 respondents. The aim of the survey was to gain an insight into how the public currently viewed the hobby of metal detecting. So this was between the 31st of January and the 3rd of February. So the first question, would you ever consider trying metal detecting a hobby? Opened the short survey asking respondents if they would consider trying metal detecting as a hobby. Overall, 4 in 10 respondents claimed that they would consider it. Of those who would consider it, 47% were male. Middle-aged respondents, 45 to 54 were the most likely candidates to participate. Among the respondents as well, who have children, over half would consider trying a hobby, particularly of the children under 5 years old. Over half of the respondents would consider trying metal detecting as a hobby. Those aged 65 plus were the least likely to consider it. A small 1% state to do metal detecting as a hobby. Question 2, do you think your children would enjoy it? All the information there. And question 3 was, please tell us in as much detail as you can your thoughts about metal detecting. On the video cast, I've been told that. How's that, everybody? I do apologise. I'm using equipment I haven't used for a while, and hopefully this is working, and hopefully we'll get it all sorted. These bloody problems we have every week. Anyway, off we go. Next up, and again, I do apologise, I'm just getting everything sorted as we speak, was a news article. We've had, obviously, information this week came out about the biggest Iron Age coin hoard ever discovered, the one in Jersey. Information was released about that. A rare 1,300-year-old coin featured in the face of an obscure Saxon king that could sell for 15,000 at auction. This was a penny depicting Ludica, who ruled Mercia for just 1 year, 826 to 827. Next up in the news, absolutely phenomenal. As I said, the Iron Age coin that had the Iron Age coin hoard that set a world record, 69,347 coins, a lot of which is on display. I apologise again to those of you who are listening on the feed. A lot of white noise on your sound.
I tell you what, we'll go back to how we were doing it in the first place. Right. Can we hear me? All right. Now, before, as I said, it was reverbing a lot, but things aren't playing tonight. So, how's that for sound, everybody? Laura, if you could message me, let me know if I'm actually being heard. So I'm just waiting for Laura to tell me loud, but a bit of reverb. I do apologise for the reverb tonight. No idea why that's happening in any way, shape, or form. These things are sent to test us. Yes, our big news this week, exceptional big news for ourselves. Luke has been working on something for a while, which finally came to fruition this week. I've done my bit this week as well to make it go to become what we want it to be, and we launched archmdmag.tv. That's www.archmdmag.tv, which is basically what we wanted to do for a while. As you can see on the excuse me, on the video cast, which Luke's running through at the moment, it introduces it, and we've got multiple playlists of lots and lots of different types of things. We've got things from people who are actually metal detectorists, our favourite ones. We've got documentaries on there, digging for Britain, BBC Britain AD, Hidden Treasures, which was a fantastic metal detecting TV series quite a few years ago. We've got the likes of Digger Dawn, John 316 and Jackie, not Jackie, John Sitchin and Jackie Smith, John Webb and Mandy. We've got Gary Blackwell, Skill School. Hell of a lot more going on there. So if you are interested, have a look for us, archmdmag.com on YouTube. archmdmag.tv, which will take you directly to our first look at the player. We're going to be working over it for a while, see what we can do. And I'm terribly sorry. I'm being awful tonight. I'm not looking at me greatest, sounding me greatest, with the reverb and all the other things that's going on. Again, I can only apologise, and I'll get better shortly. Honestly. So anyway, back on that, it's something we've been working on in our heads for a while. It's come to fruition this last week. It's going to get better. If you go to archmdmag.tv, you'll find it. Subscribe to it. You'll get all the information and what have you. Relics and Roots, I'm sorry. I tried using a different microphone. I've no idea why I'm getting reverb this evening. We had everything perfect. Everything sets up exactly the same. I've no idea what's going on. And it's peeing me off somewhat. So I'm hoping everybody's okay this week. Moving them. Is that better, Adrian? I've got the microphone quite far away from me now. Give me a thumbs up if that's the case.
Bit better. Yeah, I've moved back a bit more, yeah.
So, on with the show. I'm stressed. I'm really stressed. I'm also having it's out in a bit on the Spreaker feed as well. It must be a bit of one of them nights. So, again, as we always have. Anyway, tonight's hat, as you can see, because of the pixelation on my head for the video cast, I asked for anybody willing to offer me some hats. Pizza sent me some LP products last week, and this week it's the Garrett AT Max hat, which was sent to me by Digger Dawn. Still waiting for one from Luke, which I'm hoping to see in the very near future. Anyway, let me hope that this is working okay. Adrian, are you well?
I'm very well, thanks, Dave.
And it's not working.
Let me on
it's
tonight.
Not working at all. I can't hear a word he's saying. Adrian, I'll ring you back straight away. Let's see if that works. Absolute heinous night we're having at the moment.
as I say, all I can do is apologise. I'm just don't want to put that on, do we? I'm already on that. Let's have a look at that one. Just on YouTube, trying to pay a video and trying to get some sound. Sadly, I'm not getting anything. Don't want that one. Oh, there it is. Right. Adrian, can I hear you now?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear him.
Right.
Oh, we're there, thankfully. Oh, so it's just got to be the reverb now. Again, all I could do is apologise, as I am.
I think.
Sorry, right.
I'm joking, Dave. I'm joking. Sorry.
I thought, what was the Norman Collier? I thought you were then. Blast from the past. Adrian, good evening. I apologise again for all the issues. I'm getting told there's no reverb now. I've absolutely no idea why things have changed. Before the show, I started setting up very, very early. Adrian's been on for about half an hour and everything was going wrong. The green screen was falling down. My bottom fell out. Well, I'll say it fell out. I showed it them. It was a bit of a nightmare. So on we continue. Good evening to all the listeners. Fantastic to hear you. I'm being told we can't hear anything on Spreaker. Right, I'm noticing that Spreaker's jumping in and out. So I've no idea why that is. It must be bad on the internet tonight. So all I could do, again, is apologise. I'm just going to send a text to Mrs. Sadler to ask the children to put off their things. Can you tell kids turn tablets off? Nearly there. And then I might get bloody thingy. So, see, all going wrong. Adrian, good evening. How are you?
Evening, Dave. Evening, everyone.
Are you well?
Yeah, very, very well. Thanks, mate. Yeah, very well. Good talking to you again.
Finally, after what, 12 minutes of chaos. You've been watching the chaos from the start, though, haven't you?
Yeah, no, but hats off to you guys. You do a good job, and it's good seeing this sort of thing for free for everyone.
Much appreciated. It's a hard slog, as I say. What we've been working on this past week. Luke's designed things. I've put my 10 penneth in, and then I've created what it looks like on the .tv now. So hopefully people will get on board. I mean, you know, it's at the point now where if anybody wants to have their videos looked at, we'll be able to look at them and put them in a certain playlist. We only want to have a certain amount of actual playlists for metal detectorists, i.e. a Digger Dawn channel. Digger Dawn, she's done a lot for me over the past and vice versa. So it's only fair that I give her a little bit of help back. So if anybody does want a video, send it over to us, or anything like that, we can easily put them in the file, our recommended videos, and then obviously people will get a look. So please feel free to do that anyway. Where should we start, Adrian? How long have you been metal detecting?
About 3.5 weeks. No. Well, I started when I was probably 7 or 8. My granddad had a metal detector that he got from my uncle, who was in the RAF, and it was actually an ex-military one used for mines. And as you could see, Romans on the surface pretty much. But I used to go out with my granddad, and then he decided to buy a C-scope in the mid-70s. That then came home with me and my dad, and I used to go out with my dad, doing a bit of detecting. Then houses came along, mortgages, kids, and work, and I was busy. And then one evening, probably about 6 years ago, on Facebook, my old next-door neighbour, who had a metal detector, James, who I dig with now, he popped up on Facebook and put, "Must be getting old, just bought a metal detector." And weirdly, I bought one the week before, bought a White's Treasure Master at the time. And we just met each other. We hadn't seen each other for about 30 years, grew up together next door. And we went out looking for permissions, which was the biggest thing. We thought, oh, great, got a detector. Let's just go out and ask some farmers. Not that easy, as everyone no doubt realises. However, my mate James is a bit of a whiz when it comes to social media and emailing people and stuff. And we were patient. We put a website together, got some testimonials from people we'd spoken to who'd let us detect on their land, like big gardens. And we basically grew our permissions and been out now, I think it's about 5 years, proper full on. When I say full on, I detect at least twice a week. This week I've only been out for 2 hours, but I'll be out Saturday and probably Sunday as well. So yeah, just love it, enjoy it.
Whereabouts are you in the UK? Obviously,
we're in lovely Essex, so not too far from Cambridge, Suffolk. But I detect, like, obviously anywhere really. I'll go on holiday to the Isle of Wight with the family. Detector comes with me. Obviously abroad, I went to Cyprus last year, but I've seen imprisonment and £15,000 fine if you're caught out there, naturally. But yeah, mainly Essex area. We got a big permission just before Christmas, 28 fields, 30 fields. A very large landowner who basically called us. We emailed him, he invited us around his house. Very nice guy, quite a big landowner, and he sat us down. He said, I've basically got you to come here to tell you why I don't want you detected on my land. So we had to provide references and all our driving license. It was like a proper interview, but he let us on, and no one's detected on his land for 20 years. So we've got quite a few fields now, but I've detected in disused graveyards in London, which was, let me think, Tower Hamlets graveyard. It's now, I think it was 1860, it was a graveyard, and then in 1966 it closed down. But the ranger there, we chatted with him, and he let us, well, not actually in the graves, but on the surroundings and the footpaths. Detected in a overgrown Victorian garden, a derelict garden, which had a man-made sort of river stream through it with bridges, 4 tennis courts, and that was really cool. That was all overgrown and quite exciting. But yes, mainly just around Essex area, and then there's Detectival and the other rallies, and I'm in a club as well. There was 4 or 5 of us 2 years ago. Saw an advert in the paper near where I live, Braintree Metal Detecting Club, big shout out. And went in a pub, country pub, 4 or 5 old guys sitting there looking around, and the club set up, and now it's got over 250 members. It's gone crazy. I went last night to a meet in the pub. There's 58 people there. So yeah, it's not been doing it constantly for a long time, but the last sort of 5 years I've been heavily into it.
That's fantastic. 58 people in the club, and you get them all to turn up as well. When you have club digs, is there a limit to how many people actually can attend, or is it as many as?
To be honest, even though there's a load of members, I mean, we've got people coming from Kent. Well, in Essex, obviously, people come from Kent. We had someone from Lincolnshire the other day want to join. I think because the land we're getting, a lot of it hasn't been detected on, and there's some really good finds that have come up, especially last weekend. A hoard of axe heads, a few just before Christmas, gold staters, quite regular. So some good stuff come up, medieval ring, Roman rings, but it's, I don't know, it's one day we had 160 on the dig, and that, I think we're going to do that again because it was a bit crazy.
I've been playing around off screen, and for those who are now listening on Spreaker, who are now listening to the podcast, I don't know what went wrong. It kept disconnecting constantly. So I think the show was actually coming in brief waves, but we are here now. I've got it back up and running. I'm looking at it now. It's not kicking us out. So again, apologies for that not working earlier, and that should be all right now. Was definitely one of them. In fact, it's been one of them weeks, to be honest. A good thing from my behalf, I actually got a new laptop this week. My laptop died about a couple of months before Christmas, so I've got a new laptop. So I'm actually able to sit at night when I can't move because I'm tired and do stuff in the settee instead of having to come into the studio.
Dave, I'm just going to answer Treasure Bandits. He said that's an achievement about the permissions. Was it worth getting paperwork, etc.? We basically, when we went to see the farmer for the large permission, I'm a field tester for Treasure Hunting magazine as well. So taking in magazines with us showing items me and my mate had found that Treasure Hunting magazine had published was a real bonus as well. And we also, the testimonials, he said, was really key. So the paperwork and all the hard work, we printed off maps of his land and almost said to him, where can we go, where can't we go? So it definitely was worth doing all the homework beforehand rather than just knocking on the door, which I don't think they really appreciate.
Yeah, I think we can all of us who are listening, all of us metal detectorists can all attest to that. There's always, I find it, you know, I'm outspoken, I'm in your face, I'm a bit brash at times. I'm actually nice, but it's that's all the other part. But I get very anxious going to speak to farmers because you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what answer you're going to get. You don't know if it'll be get off my land. It's somebody's private life that you're entering, and it's one of them things that I'm not altogether feels good with me going to ask for permission, which is probably why I haven't got a million permissions. No,
and also keeping them, because obviously if you dig up a load of iron and just leave it laying by the side of the field, I always carry it in, show the farmer, and he says thanks, because if the plough hit that or a bit of his farm equipment, and you know, even little things like, I don't smoke, but if you're smoking, just leaving your fag butts laying around or smoking when the field's dry, stuff like that. It's just being polite. And at Christmas, giving them a bottle of whiskey as well doesn't hurt, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Tony Kaywood actually done a video not so long ago. We were discussing things about how to get a permission, and you know, it is difficult. It's very, very difficult. We've all been there. We can all say that. But that doesn't mean you should go doing it illegally, for those who may be listening, who may do daft things like that. Just, if you can't do it, go on a dig, go on an organised rally somewhere. You'll get the opportunity, and there's always beaches. I know there's certain protected areas, but there's always beaches you can go on anyway. So just think on.
Yeah.
So right. You mentioned that you're a tester for Treasure Hunting magazine.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
I'll tell you what started it off was the Rutus, the Alter 71. The club I'm in, Braintree Metal Detecting Club, is in Essex, and the publishing company and Julian Evanhart live not a million miles away. And he came to the club one night, started talking about detectors. He doesn't have a favourite brand or type of machine, and I try not to be that myself. And he said, have you heard of the Rutus? And I said, yeah, I have, sort of. Is it any good? And he said, well, I don't know. He said, fancy testing it out. So I took it out. I spent a long time. I spent about a month, so sort of 8 weekends with it, and in the week. And it, I didn't want to give it back. I said, can I have it? And they said, well, yeah, if you want. And I still use it as my regular machine, as well as other good machines out there. But there's something about the Rutus, hence being in the expert team, which it's very, very small company. Doesn't have a Wyola, isn't it? Yeah. Wyola does all their marketing material. Her husband does all the development in Poland, probably less than what I spend on petrol a year. And to market a product like that when it's really good is hard against the big boys out there. So being British, I naturally like the underdog and trying things out, and been using it ever since. Still use it today. So it's basically how.
And when you mentioned about being in the Rutus expert team, Tony Kaywood developed an app where you can go in the field and look, and there's a lot of, I've mentioned it before, Team Rutus, and I'll just read out Team Rutus's names. You've got Yvonne London Merchant, Luke Higgins, Niall Bailey, Tony Kaywood, yourself, Adrian, and recently Stephen Gray, Mr. Anglo-Celtic himself, are on board in the team. And obviously all of you are there on rallies with your T-shirts on that people can discuss the product with and you can show them. But yours and Tony's and Yvonne, all your settings are actually on the app.
Yeah.
And I've worked on them, and I'll be honest, I've had more success with Tony's, but I've used Tony's settings more because they're generally the ones that I've got used to. But as I actually messaged you and said I'd had success with your settings, so they definitely work, and you must be having a lot of success yourself with it.
Yeah, I just love the way there's a holograph display that has a line in it. So you've got your tones, you've got your visual sort of numerical display, and you've got this holograph display, which is basically like a graph. And if it's trash or iron, you get a certain show on the graph. If it's a good signal, it's straight. And then 9 times out of 10, it's bang on. Saying that, last year, I think you know about it, I found a medieval ring. It's about 2 inches down, showing as trash, sort of ring pull kind of thing. Hot day, dug down and saw a bit of gold. Thought, oh, that's nice. Pulled it out. It looked too good to be true. So, like an idiot, I had a quick look, put it on my finger, and carried on detecting. Shouted at me mate. About 10 minutes later, showed him. He just swore, jumped up in the air and said, "You effing whatever." He said, "That's a medieval bishop's ring." Got it home, cleaned it. Well, didn't really need to clean it, and it's a 12th to 13th century medieval ring with a cabochon sapphire in it and some lovely sort of engraving around the edges.
Now, we've actually got some images of the ring that Luke can bring up.
My ring.
Your ring, your gold medieval ring. So I'm hoping Luke will be able to bring them up for viewers to see in a moment, and then we can obviously, describe it to the listeners who are on Spreaker. Now it's working.
Yeah,
and it is a beautiful piece as well. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it's going back to about permissions as well. Naturally, that's been in the magazine. It's still with the Flow at the moment. It's been there for quite a few months. And when I showed it to the farmer, what I'd found, and he showed him all the paperwork about giving it to the Flow, he knew I wasn't going to be pocketing stuff off his land, because this ring, it hasn't been valued yet, but I've heard it is quite a few thousand potentially. So,
wow.
Yeah.
And Luke's just scrolling through your images to get to the ring. There's the ring itself. Can you describe it for listeners, please, Adrian? Save me doing it poorly.
It's the edges of the ring are very intricately sort of stamped with circles and arrows around the sides of the ring. The face of the ring is the shape of like a bishop's hat. And inside his centre is a blue cabochon sapphire, which in those days was a very unique stone and very expensive. And I've been told by the Flow that it would have been a very senior nobleman who would have worn that. But it's so goldy gold, it's orange because obviously it's solid gold. It's got a slight little bend on the bottom of the ring at the base of underneath your finger, and the Flow said that looks like that could have come off in some trauma. So whether on his horse he got his hand caught on something or a sword, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, it's just amazing to pick that up, put it on your finger and think the last time someone wore that was, I don't know, 600-700 years ago. I didn't really want to give it back because I was so paranoid about losing it. I wore for the Flow, even when I went to bed, my wife thought I'd lost it. But it's a nice find. And I found other good things with the Rutus as well.
Luke, can we scroll through the video, the images, so we can have a look what other things are out and about on there? I noticed earlier, one of the first pictures we actually saw, some Rutus finds, all on the screen of the Rutus, buttons, buckles, bullets, etc.
Yeah, that was a day out, not right on the edge of it's the Flow. It's the ring that's me with the Vanquish, which I'll talk about shortly if you want. That was about 3 hours out detecting in the summer on a really hot day. And I think what I like about the Rutus is I do find I get a more varied selection of finds. I mean, looking at that, I've got an old spoon, buckles, a bullet, I've got a hammered in there.
Yeah,
I've got very old, what looked like a crotal bell, but that was actually, it's a bell on the foot of what am I trying to say? Birds that I used to hunt in the old days. Yeah, so you get a wide variety of things.
Yeah, some stunning pieces in there. And you're in an area as well that's steeped in history, and you've got a lot of people walking around, running around, horsing around, etc. and carts. It's you've got so much history and potential for people to lose things, as we have everywhere. But
you still got to walk over it, haven't you?
Oh, absolutely. I walk past it.
Yeah. No, it's funny because I go out. My friend who I detect with, he started off with, like you do, everyone does, sort of Garrett 250. Then he got the AT Pro, and then he borrowed my Rutus for a day, one day, and he said, I want one. So he's got a Rutus now. So we both go out at the weekend, and it is pure competition. We're level. So we go out and see what we can find, and it gets quite competitive, but it's good fun.
What you need to do is give him Tony Kaywood's settings, and then let's go for it, man on man.
Tony's the man who finds lots of buttons. No, I shouldn't say that. No, Tony did go through a phase of like 4 weeks on the trot just finding buttons. But no, Tony's settings in the club I'm in, Metal Detecting Club. There's a couple of people there who said Tony's settings work well. But it depends on down the southeast. Our ground is soaked at the moment, probably like everyone else. But in the summer, it is rock hard, and I think
imagine
that the frequency, I drop it right down. I can't run too high on that.
Yeah, some stunning bits you've got there. Let's be honest. Do you have a YouTube channel?
No, good question. I took up detecting because I wanted to go out, relax, good bit of medicine for the mind, and just turn off. So taking a picture of a find is about as far as I go. However, I have started doing some videos of the Rutus and the finds and some of the permissions the last few weeks. And what I'm intending on doing is doing 6 or 7 good quality videos a year rather than one every weekend or every week. I've just written a review on the Vanquish 540, which will be in Treasure Hunting magazine next month. That's 3,000 words plus. So I sometimes absorb things better if I read them as opposed to watch them on YouTube. I watch YouTube a lot, and I watch a lot of machines reviews and people detecting on YouTube. But come 11 o'clock at night, I'm then looking how to change the clutch on a 1973 Morris Marina because you just jumped, didn't you? You know what it's like. So yeah.
Have you got a 1963 Morris Marina?
64 Allegro estate age.
God, I used to have an Allegro.
Yeah, awful. Yeah, awful game. That's on the combine. That's a farmer who loves us going on his land so much, not just because we're quite respectful, but he has a lot of travellers and fly tippers and people hair coursing. So when we're on the land, we take walkie-talkies and we communicate between ourselves, me and my mate, and also the farmer, if we see anyone. So we're almost like not security, but we have seen occasionally cars pull up to fly tip, which is a big problem down here in Essex. I don't know if it is anywhere else, but if they see us, we just get our phones out. Travellers and people doing stuff. But the farmer lets us go on his combine. Lots of fun and things. So yeah, it's all good.
Do you know what I forgot to do tonight? I do it every time, and I forgot to do it. I haven't actually shared the video chat out. Always share the video chat. Yeah, we've got fly tipping issues up in Cheshire. You totally understand where you're coming from there. It's an absolute nightmare. I think Luke actually shared some images on the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine Facebook page the other night of the state of what it is. I actually saw another one which was local, where the person who tipped their flies I'd actually left letters in it, so they were actually traced straight away, which was, bemusing. Why would you do that, idiots?
Yeah, it drives me up the wall. Absolutely drives me up the wall. Really.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a picture there. That was I've got a pickup truck because I need it for all the detectors. There, I've got my Safari. I've got a couple of Rutuses there. I've got a AT Pro and a Gold Mask +1 there. That was a nice day. That was interesting. That was a previous permission that a club had been detected on for 5 years, and I love going on. I love going on land that's been heavily detected. Most people think I'm mad, but it really pushes you to see if you can find something. I went on a club dig last month, and there are a lot of people on a small little sort of bit of pasture, and 5 of them all had a certain brand of detector. Good detector, a high level, lightweight thing. And I walked in with my some people call it the NHS crutch, the Rutus, because of the colour of it, the grey frame. And within 5 minutes, I was digging coins and crotal bells, and they've been in it all morning. And I think they were looking at me thinking, "What the hell's that?" That's what I call detector porn. There's C-scope in there, Rutus, some Equinoxes in there, Gold Mask in there. Yeah, that's a day out with Gillian Evanhart and Lisa. Hello to them tonight. They said something on the chat. And a few of my mates from the club, we went out and we just took a load of detectors out for the day and saw what we went out to find. Yeah, that's the boot of my car all the time.
That's no car. That's a dream vehicle for metal detecting.
Yeah, they're not all in there now. If anyone's thinking or knows where I live,
in fact, I think the one that's bypassed you on vehicles that I want is John Webb, who's in the chat room. He's sent me some pictures of his new vehicle today, which I'm exceptionally jealous of. Volkswagen Transporter.
Oh yeah, I'd love one of those.
Yeah, I mean, my hit list as well.
If I won the lottery, I'd get that for being able to go to Detectable and then getting something like that in the evening. Oh, it'd be nice.
Absolutely. And talking about Detectable, we actually met ourselves for the first time face to face at last year's Detectable.
Yes, we did. Yeah,
we did. And you actually gave us a massive tip, which may be helping us in the coming weeks. You give us a website link, which we are hoping to work with.
Oh right, okay.
There it is.
Yeah.
Are you going to Spring Detectable and Detectable this year? Yeah,
I'm going to Spring Detectable, Summer Detectable. The Rutus expert team are going to. Where are we going? I wrote it down somewhere. Oh yeah, Spring Detectable, Detecticon, Rodney Cook Memorial, and obviously Summer Detectable as well. And I'll also be at in Essex, in Colchester. There's one called Kimbo's Rally for charity. They're doing a week's
marvelous
digging, a whole week. And it's £100. And I went there last year just for a weekend, and it's fantastic. The soil is like compost.
Can you tell me what that was called again? The video paused, and I didn't hear what that was called. Sorry.
Yep, it's Kimbo's Rally. Oh dear, Kimbo's. I tell you what, if you go to the Treasure Hunting Magazine Facebook page and scroll through and look, there's Kimbo's Rally. It's in Colchester on the 20th to the 26th of September. 230 acres, toilets and everything, and I think it's the farmers, some farming charity or something. But that is lovely. It's not that big. People, last time I went, I think it was probably 60, 70 people, but it's a fantastic rally. I found some really good finds there. The Rutus pulled out some lovely things. One of my favourite finds, actually, which is an RAF Sweetheart badge, which
we've actually got a picture of. It's on the pictures you've sent, yeah.
Yeah, it's just something like that. It's not the value, it's just the history behind it.
It's personal.
Yeah, it is, and I loved it, and I also found some really good finds that weekend. But yeah, so we'll be at all those. The Rutus expert team And if anyone's got any questions or wants to know certain things about setting up their Rutus, more than happy to help.
Yeah, and you were obviously valuable to a lot of people at Detectable, yourself and the rest of the team, where you met Viola and Arik as well. You spent time with them, and obviously they'll be over this time. And there's the picture of your RAF badge.
Yeah, all those bits there I found but sort of just up from 9 in the morning to probably 1, 2 o'clock. That was I can't remember what I found there. It's
things.
Yeah, stuff. I'm awful because I'll dig stuff up and I'll look at it and think, oh yeah, it's great. Put it in my finds pouch, get home. Housing manager has a go at me because the sink's covered in mud and everything's like all detectorists. There's kitchen roll everywhere, there's stuff drying, and then you go away and look in your copy of Spinks or Google something, and it's a nightmare. But yeah, it's definitely good though. But I'd if anyone's looking, go on the Treasure Hunting Magazine Facebook page and look at Kimbo's rally because it is a good one. I think it's going to get bigger.
I've heard of the Kimbo thing, but I can't put my finger on what I've seen, but I definitely recognise the name because Kimbo Slice, I think, was a wrestler stroke UFC, and it just springs that to mind. I'm just checking an artifact, a little bit of a buckle that's just dropped on the floor, so we'll find that later. I was just thinking when we're talking about cleaning or what have you, Graham Dempsey of what's it called? Pressure It Wax and the pencils, the graphite type pencils. He sent me the pencils this week, and I've played with one of my buckles, just something that was close at the time because I've not had opportunity, and it really, really did clean up very well. So we're going to be speaking to Graham in a couple of weeks, hopefully, about that anyway. But yeah, just as you mentioned cleaning, obviously that came to mind.
Yeah. No.
Excuse me. So what other machines have you actually owned?
I think I'm trying to remember what it was. I think it was a C-Scope CS2MX was my first machine I can remember using. It had a white type of coil, solid coil. Then I had, when I started back in the hobby, I bought a White's Treasure Master. Don't know quite why, but I bought that, and I actually, stuck on 7 kilohertz, and that was great. My mate had his Ace 250, and we went out and we found coins, we found stuff, and it was great. Then I got the White's Treasure Master Pro. That was a good machine, good depth. Then I had a Quest Q40, which was an interesting machine. That got some good depth with that. Then I had the Minelab Safari, which I do miss. Wish I'd never sold it, but it was so heavy, and the battery used to go quite quickly. Although there is someone on YouTube, I probably shouldn't say this, who does a 3D printed case with some special lithium-ion batteries for like 30 quid. And I used that on my Safari, and it lasted 3 weeks, 3 weekends without charging. Oh, there he is. That's Jules and my mate Nick. That's the day out in the summer. Then I
don't think anyone could beat his shirts, hands down.
Yeah. You want to see his pants? They're even brighter. But it's more of a thong style he wears. Oh yeah, that's with the Simplex. That was just before Christmas when that came out.
Is that your detectorist porn pose?
Pork pouch, yeah.
Talking of Tony Kaywood made a comment the other week to ask you about something. What was that? Remind me. Something poser.
That
something that Tony Kaywood put on the thingies.
That last picture. Sorry, it's gone. I'll go back to what you said about the pose. That last picture, that's a garden. That's one of the gardens we went out in, and that was really, really cool. That had massive stream running for it. That's my mate James, who I think's listening because he's just messaged me. The pose, that was in front of the combine. My mate, he's well into cameras, and he took a photo of me in front of a combine harvester. And Tony Kaywood keeps taking a mickey out of it. But going back
which is actually the one we used to promote the show.
Yeah, the other picture was with the Nocta Macro Simplex, great machine. Don't know how they did it really for the money. I field tested that, and the first thing I did was throw it in a lake for half an hour. And then my daughter was with me, actually, highly embarrassed. She's like, "Dad, people are looking." And I left it in the lake for 30 minutes and went back and pulled it out. I left it on, and I thought, if that doesn't work now, I've ruined the whole day. And it worked fine. The Simplex is a good machine. Been out with that. I've got it behind me here somewhere. Yeah, got it behind me here, the Simplex. Just did a software update the other week, which you can do quite easily on it. But yeah, that's a nice machine.
Steve Pettigan asks, if you could detect anywhere in the UK, where would it be?
Well, I have, and I'd like to do it more, the Isle of Wight.
All right.
Purely because it's a nice place. It's got nice beaches, and I don't think it's... I detected there on holiday, like with the kids and that a few years ago, and for the whole week I was there, I didn't see one detectorist, and I went out early morning and at night, and I had some good finds.
We actually used to have a detectorist from the Isle of Wight, and I can't remember his name, and he hasn't made any for years, but he was making some fantastic videos himself from the Isle of Wight. Don, might have been Don something, IOW. But yeah, there's one I know of. And another place I think you'd enjoy in that case then is Anglesey, with its fantastic beaches, its history. I mean, there's even one of the beaches there that I think it's been metal detected to death, but there's a ship that ran ashore called the Royal Charter way back when. I can't remember when at the top of my head. Obviously went over. Lots of people were killed. It's understood that there was people actually drowning because they refused to let go of the gold that was in the pockets, and it was a gold-laden ship. And there's still people bringing up gold there today, as far as I know. Obviously, a lot of it's now, we're not telling anybody, but there's a hell of a lot of reported gold because it was, as I say, heavily laden. And that's near between Ligway Beach and Mulfra Beach, but it's fantastic location, Anglesey. I mean, I've done a lot myself there when I was doing some surveys for CADU, which is the Welsh main organisation for archaeology. I think you'd enjoy that. Yeah. And I know for a fact John Webb's been over there with a few people as well over in Holyhead. I'll send you some bits and bobs, or I'll tag you in one of my albums of things from Anglesey. There's so much. There's there's Hook Group, the Iron Age Hook Groups. There's over at the Balfour Way, there's Dinligwy, Iron Age Village. There's, multiple burial chambers and such like. I've actually got a book on Anglesey. I'm just looking for it now. But I've been all through Anglesey with this book as a guide, and there's so much there that there's things that's missed in the book. Where is it? Bryn Kelly Do, which is a Neolithic burial chamber. They're actually still doing a lot of archaeology there every summer. And they look for volunteers as well. So you'll keep that in mind. And anybody else interested, obviously look that up.
Yeah, definitely. That sounds interesting. It does, Dave. But the Isle of Wight, I don't know. I just like it there. And obviously there's a big royal family, Queen Victoria. Had a house out there with her own private beach, and I went on it, but I think that'd be quite nice to detect around there.
Certainly would. So on to the Vanquish. You said you've been field testing that of late. Minelab, obviously, they came to they sponsored last year's Detectable, and their big reveal was the Vanquish.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that was a nightmare, that detectable.
If you turn that over, then it actually looked like Starship Enterprise. Turn it the other way up. Other way, turn it over. Starship Enterprise. Or a Klingon battle cruiser.
Klingon. it's detectable. People who went, some are detectable. Minelab, Nocta Macro Simplex, everyone was promoting Rutus, everyone was there. C-Scope with their new machine, which I'm very excited about when that comes out. The Vanquish, I think a lot of people were sort of a bit confused. Minelab have got the Go Find, and then they've got the sort of the Equinox now that everyone's using, a lot of people using. And then they brought out the Vanquish, and I was really dubious what it'd be like. And I've used it for about 20 hours since I've had it. This is the 540. So this is top of the range one. I haven't got the wireless headphones, and it comes with the V12 12-inch coil, which is very thin but strong, very strong, and a coil cover. And it's got cams on it for opening and closing it. It's a beginner's machine, but if beginners' machines were that good when I started, I'd be more than happy. It's the full article I've written up and the finds I found is in next month's Treasure Hunting magazine. But it's well made. It looks plasticky. It uses polypropylene as opposed to polycarbonate. So those of you who know, it will last and won't crack or break. It's very flexible. And I went out with it when I got it, whenever the other week. And my mate was the other side of the field with his Rutus, very muddy. And within 15 minutes, I got hammered. And it was quite deep, 6 inches in this weather, wet weather on the ground. I like it. It's a good machine. It's just, I think it's harder now if you're a beginner and you want to buy a machine, because years ago, and still people straight away go and buy a Garrett Ace 150, 250. Now there is a plethora of machines. Like I said, the Nocta Macro Simplex. You've got this Vanquish coming in. I think where it's going to get interesting is when C-Scope bring theirs out, which I'm really excited about. I felt the prototype detectable, and it looked really, really good and felt really good. So we'll see. But yeah, any questions on the Vanquish from anyone?
Well, I've got a few, obviously. It's.
Oh, yeah,
you say it's a beginner's machine. Why is that? Obviously, let's say, for instance, the Simplex coming in at what, 299 versus the Vanquish at around 450, I'd say, something like that.
The Vanquish, there's three models. There's the 340, the 440, and the 540. That's the 540 top of the range.
Right.
So the 340 is £229.
Right. Sorry.
340 is 229. The 340 is 299, and that is 399. And they do a Pro Pack, which is £500, I think, which comes with an 8-inch coil, 12-inch coil, and Minelab Bluetooth headphones. Minelab have said it's a beginner's machine because it's so easy to use. It is so easy to use. And you probably the most complicated thing on it is putting in your own personal settings. That's about it, which is 2 button pushes. It's basically a mini Equinox. Realistically, it uses the multi-IQ technology, and it's lightweight, very easy display to understand. 3 search modes. You've got coin, artifact, and got the other one, but yeah, it's something which, when you get hold of it, Minelab make good machines and it's going to work. And I think they're hoping that someone probably starts off buying the 340 and moves up to the 440 and the 540. But I've had a great time with it. Really, really enjoyed using it.
Well, I've just ended the Spreaker show because settings somewhere within my system. Obviously, we messed about earlier on because everything wasn't right. You weren't being able to hear on the podcast, so I've obviously ended that, unfortunately. So tonight we're reliant on this. Well, last week we had to end the video cast. This week we've had to end the Spreaker podcast, unfortunately. So I apologise. Well, for those who are listening on Spreaker, you can't hear me, so I can't apologise. That everything will be back set next week. As I said, we were faffing about something rotten to get things right earlier. incidentally, on next week's show, we've got Scotty B from Norfolk Tyne Detecting. He's going to be talking about Detecticon and also which tickets are now available for. And he's also running a competition on Norfolk Tyne Metal Detecting Club on Facebook, which is obviously, I think it's free to enter, but he's actually going to be announcing the winners on next week's show, next week's big metal detecting radio and TV show. So looking forward to that with Scotty B from Norfolk Tyne Metal Detecting last week. So the Vanquish, obviously, anybody, if you have got any questions, please ask in the feed, and Luke we'll see them appear on the screen. Sean McNamara, is the build and manufacturing quality on the Vanquish better than on the Equinox?
Right. Well, the one thing it isn't waterproof. It's shower proof, providing you put the cover which comes with it, which I've lost bizarrely. However, I did have an incident at the weekend where I fell down like a 5-foot ditch and landed on it, and I thought I'd snap the stem, but it was. I'd say, yeah, it is better quality. And the reason I say that, it's got an aluminium shaft. This is aluminium, which is really nice and lightweight, and this is fiberglass, I believe, but very strong fiberglass. That is strong. It's got a really good grip on here. The only thing I'd say is this, some people might think is cheap and plasticky, but it isn't. It's actually flexible for a reason, so that you won't break it. Yeah, I would say it's for a beginner, isn't it? So someone who's going to probably bash it into things and knock it about, and it's cheaper. So when you're moving an Equinox around, that's a lot of money. So you're going to be careful with it.
Yeah, I had to play at Detectable myself because they had an area set off with different things.
Sorry, I'm just laughing at one of the comments someone's just put. What was your weirdest find? I don't know if I can say what it was.
We'll get there momentarily, but I had to play with the Vanquish, and it was obviously the prototype version, but it was a good machine for what it was. I obviously didn't realize what the pricing and what was. I thought it'd be a lot more expensive. But yeah, if it's coming in at a beginner's range, it's obviously one. Minelab do have that that history and the recommended, and it's well looked out. You know, it's something that people should consider if they're starting. But again, would you like to answer which is the best machine, the Simplex or the Vanquish?
Oh, without a doubt. Look, that's like asking what you prefer, BMW or an Audi. They're the same league, but each one has slightly different things to the other. So if you are going to potentially fall in the sea or a stream, and you need a waterproof machine, probably the Simplex. I like the Simplex. Got good finds with Simplex. I suppose it's like an Audi and a BMW. So for me, the Simplex would be a BMW, and the Vanquish would be an Audi for me. And
so what you're saying is they both haven't got indicators on them.
I didn't say that about certain drivers, but yeah, it's a hard one, a very hard one, because it's a personal thing. So I like the way the Simplex is waterproof, and it is a little bit more compact, I think. And it's got a few more features. There's the ability to do manual ground balance in the Simplex if you want to. The software is upgradable, which possibly it might be on Vanquish in the future. But the tones, the Minelab tones are nice. I personally like the Minelab tones. So yes, I feel sorry for people buying new machines or beginners, because like I said earlier, there's a lot of good stuff out there at the moment, and it's down to personal preference. You might not like the colour, so.
When you just said about the Minelab tones, out of all the machines I've used, the Minelab tones are still the ones that ring my bell. I'm so comfortable with them.
For me, it's Rutus. You see, I love. I don't know how Arik, who's designed the Rutus, how he got the tones to sound like they do, but they're totally different to any other machine, and you can change them as well. But for me, it's the Rutus tones. I like the Rutus tones.
I usually use Rutus myself, but I've said it before. I'll say it again. The Xterra 705. I should never have got rid of it. It's the only one that I've felt comfortable. Although I've found lots of things with the Rutus Alter 71. I feel personally more comfortable with the, and it's old technology now. Let's face it, the Xterra 705. I'm happy with the Rutus. I'm finding things with the Rutus. I don't get out as much as I'd like. So yeah, for me, currently, what I've used recently, personally, it's the Rutus for me too.
Yeah. No, my preferred machine, but yeah, it's nice. It's nice field testing for treasure hunting all the different machines, because it's like being a sort of car salesman at a sort of garage where you've got different cars coming in every week. I get the chance to go out. Some days I feel like I just want a nice, simple to tech, so I'll take the Vanquish or the Simplex or whatever. Sometimes I'm going to be out all day and it's a new commission and I want to change my settings on the Rutus and have a play. It depends what mood you're in, when you go out. A bit like driving an automatic or a manual for the day. So.
Vince 1648 asks if the Simplex was the BMW and the Vanquish was the Audi, what car is the Rutus Alter?
Oh, for me, I'd say it's a cross. I'd say a Tesla, and I'll tell you for why. Because it doesn't look that special, and it's not heavily marketed, and not lots of people have got them. But boy, when you start using it and looking at all the tweaks, like in the Tesla, you've got the big screen and everything. Yeah, you haven't got that. The Rutus has got a nice screen, and the new one coming out soon is going to have an even better screen that's going to be colour. So yeah, I'd say a Tesla, even though it's not that expensive. It's very, very cheap. It's not a million miles off the price of a Vanquish 540. So yeah, I'd say a Tesla.
I've not drove a Tesla. I've not been in a Tesla.
No, I can't.
But saying that as well, on Tesla parts, you have to have Tesla parts on the car. You can't go and buy like.
So on the Rutus is probably more reliable. Yeah, it is more reliable than a Tesla. The Rutus, touchwood, I've had mine now in 3 years, and touchwood, nothing's ever gone wrong with it. I had a bit of condensation in it last month. Put it in a bag of rice, and that fixed it. But yeah, batteries last fine. Really long the batteries last in my Rutus, which I quite like. Because the issue with the rechargeable batteries, which I know a lot of machines are having them now, and potentially the new Rutus coming out is going to have a rechargeable battery, is, I don't know, let's say you've got a machine that's IP68 rated, waterproof, brand new, absolutely fine. 3 years' time, like mobile phones, those batteries are going to die. They're going to need replacing. So if the manufacturer replaces it, or you have a go yourself in your shed after a couple of Stellas, you're going to mess up the waterproof, the IP68 rating. So if that gets wet again, it's out of warranty. Do you see what I'm saying? Whereas with just AA batteries, you just put some. I think that's why things like C-scopes are still banging on, and Garrett's, because batteries aren't great for the environment, but they're a simple thing to deal with.
So tell us, what is your favourite find that you've had ever in all the years metal detecting?
I'm glad you said that, because I thought you were going to ask me the one about what's the weirdest find.
I'm getting to that.
Mike, I tell you what, the great is probably it was more. I found a load of bullets, probably 8, 9, 10 bullets. The actual bullet itself, all within sort of 4 or 5 foot of each other in a line across the field. I thought, oh, blimey, it's literally beep, 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 beep. Afterwards, I went to the farmer and I said, oh, I've just found a load of bullets. And he went, whereabouts was it? I said, oh, just over there. I said, "Oh," he said, "my dad told me about that." I said, "What was that?" He said, "There was a dogfight between a Spitfire and a Heinkel, was it a Heinkel? No, Messerschmitt." And my dad watched them fighting over there, and they were just constantly shooting at each other. And he said he remembers the Spitfire firing a round of bullets that just went across the field. And I said, "Oh, I dug those up." And I've got them in my finds box. And it's a bit of history. And I remember that day, I didn't find much that day. And I just found a load of these bullets. And I thought, wow, this was a bit of British history that I found. So, yeah. I found a few other little things, but that to me was quite special that day because I stood there in the field just looking around thinking, blimey, this was these bullets. The last time somebody probably saw them or touched them, it was a dogfight in the air.
To be able to actually find that history of why them bullets were there, I mean, we've all found bullets, they could be anything, but to actually find why they're there makes it all that much more interesting and fascinating and important.
Yeah, it does, because the farmer, he remembered talking to his dad about it before he took over the farm, and he said, "Oh," and it brought back memories. And he didn't actually ask for the bullets. I haven't offered to him, but I didn't think. But yeah, it's another one. Occasionally, there's a farmer we detect near an airfield in Essex, an old American one, not on it, but by the side of it. And the farmer's dad lost his penknife, which his dad gave him. And me and my mate have been trying to look for that for years, whether it's rotted away or not. But it's little things like that. It's I don't know, it's personal things.
Well, James Newman says, Adrian, can you tell us about the bomb in the field too?
He's my mate. I detect with. Yeah, there is a very large bomb in a field we detected that landed, but no one's ever found it. And the farmer said, if you do, it was apparently a big one. People saw it come down in the Second World War. But there is a bomb there, and we might find it one day. So, yeah. Hello, James.
Carefully.
Yeah. No.
Is that the field where you use your plastic spade as opposed to your normal one?
Yeah, it will be going forward.
Fantastic. It's great to be able to speak to people who can, who were there and witness things and able to add to the history.
Yeah. I think certain things that it's right, he's not watching, but there's one farmer we go to and he loves talking to us so much. We get there at 8 o'clock in the morning in the summer to go detect him, and he's talking to us for about nearly an hour about the history of the land, and our tramp was found dead down there in the 1930s by the river, and there's oyster shells down there from the rovers. And it's nice, but you just want to get detecting. But sometimes people in farming don't get to talk to people in the day, so I suppose he enjoys it.
Another one of the listeners, it's gone off now, so I can't tell you exactly what it said, but I think a friend of his found 303 bullets in a tree with a poem, and I think they extracted them and offered them to the Bullet Historical Society. If I'm right in what I've just read, it is. One of our members at a club found 303 bullets in a tree with a poem inside, so they gave that bullet historical history. Sorry, I thought they said it, give it to a Bullet History Society.
Oh, yeah. Enfield 303 rifle.
Right.
So, Second World.
Sorry, I've read it as 303 bullets in a tree, but yeah, that makes more sense. Sorry, Treasure Bandit Metal Detecting UK for misunderstanding that.
No.
And what's the best thing that you've been privy to, or someone else finding?
The best thing. The Hoarder last year's Spring Detectival.
Yeah.
I was
Hambleton.
15 foot behind that to go for it with my mate, and he said, "Can I stop and have a cigarette?" I went, "Yeah, all right, mate." So he stood there having a cigarette as it was found. So I sometimes wonder but we were right there watching it. Oh my God, it's so funny because everyone was just going crazy, sort of, and then it was fenced off. But I sometimes wonder, not only is he killing himself by smoking, but he could have been rich if he hadn't had that fag. Sorry. So, yeah.
Didn't have that fag, and now he has like a permanent limp and a black eye.
yeah, something like that.
It's more of a interesting. One thing I would like to go back to, actually, you mentioned you were metal detecting on a graveyard, a cemetery.
Oh yeah.
How did that come about? That's because obviously something like that is peculiar in itself.
It's not what you know, it's who you know. I think in this game, my mate James knew someone who knew someone, and he was a ranger for this place. And obviously, there's people buried there, so you need to be polite and aware of respectful. And I think he just messaged him, and the guy was ever so nice. He said, "Yeah, come down." He said, "Yeah, not a problem at all. You can detect." So we thought, great. So we're in Tower Hamlets in this graveyard. It's big, really big, but it's also got a public footpath through it, and it's got a park at the end. So there's lots of people sort of going to work, kids in prams, kids playing, and the graveyard's completely overgrown. But you can still see some of the graves. It was great, but the problem was a lot of people thought we were detecting graves, so they were like a bit concerning. But it was almost eerie because I'll never forget. There's thousands of graves there. I think I wrote somewhere about that about the graves, but
I think we've actually got. If Luke can pull it up, I think you've actually sent an image of the graveyard itself. Yes, you have.
What was weird about it, Dave, was we were going around it, looking at it. We found lots of toy cars, which I found really bizarre. Loads of toy cars.
There's a park at the end.
Well, there was, but it was sort of in the middle of it. It was strange. And we found a few bits of old jewellery and stuff, but where people have probably lost them, and a lot of coins. But what was weird is there was one gravestone in the middle. It was probably 30 foot through the undergrowth. Absolutely 6-7 foot high stinging nettles, and it was perfectly kept with fresh flowers on it, which freaked me out. Yeah, so that's not too bad there, but you can see the footpath or the path through it. So yeah, we had a great day there, and because it's like a forest, all overgrown and unkept, it's really nice and cool in the summer. But the one problem we did find, the ranger said to us, "If you find any guns or knives or drugs, let me know." And we said, "Sorry?" And he said the gangs, because this is in London, he said the gangs use the cemetery to hide their drugs and guns and knives. And we're like, really? He said, yeah. He said, someone found one the other week whilst walking through the graveyard, and the police came. He said, and knives, we quite often find a lot of knives that are used in attacks, and drugs, lots and lots of drugs. He said, cannabis. Wow. And we're like, yeah, it's you don't think of those sort of places to be used, but I think a lot of criminals, it's a place where people don't go, is it, to hang around?
Yeah. I mean, there's a very famous case, when you go magnet fishing, the amount of guns and knives that I've seen people pull out. But there was one about 2 years ago that they found a big Hessian, like army type bag, and they pulled it up. They actually went into the water to get it, pulled it up, opened it, and it was multiple guns, actually wrapped in waterproof wrapping and what have you, and there must have been 10, 15, 20 guns in there. So yeah, wow. Mad as cheese, that.
Wow. Yeah, I think you never know what I found. Was it me or my mate James? We found a gun last year or the year before, got really, really excited. Actually, no, it was at Spring Detectable. Mate James found what's it called, for a revolver, the spinning bit you put your bullets in. He found one of those at Spring Detectable, which was quite bizarre. I suppose people bury things, don't they, if they want to hide them or get rid of them.
Scott or Kimmy DeBay, I'll go for Scott. He asks if one of the Rutuses is that one of the Rutuses in the background?
Yes. As you can see, very well used. It's very muddy and dirty down here. So, yeah, it's a bit of a mess.
Camouflage.
Something like that. This metal thing.
Oh, I like that.
it was kindly given to me by, I think it was Matthias at Summer or Spring Detectable.
Yeah.
So you can lay it on the ground and it just lifts it a bit off the mud. But yeah,
That's a nice bit of kit, that.
These things are just, they're just indestructible. They really, really are. I mean, I've thrown it around a hell of a lot. I've fallen on it. I'm naughty. I use it like a walking stick when I jump across streams and things. So, yeah, it's my Rutus behind me.
Mine's behind me, but there's a green screen, so you can't see it.
Not after the beginning of the show.
Not after that. Not again. Not again.
I don't think people realise you're sitting in your pants, so don't get up again.
Luke's currently showing the Treasure Hunting magazine website. He's showing some images from there. So obviously, anybody who's listening who's interested, that's the magazine. It's available for, I can't see the price, unfortunately. It's about £4.10 for which is more than cheap enough for something like that. And obviously, the articles. Julian, there's one there by David Suckley, Richard Hammery, multiple Metal Detecting Club roundup images. My personal magazine of choice, even though me and Luke are co-editors, the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine. For the way it's put together, it's a fantastic magazine. And kudos to Julian and Dan and Dan's sister, whose name eludes me, for all the work they do on it. I've got a drawer here. Do you know, I'm able to do this for the first time ever, because normally I'll talk about it on the podcast, but I was given multiple copies of magazines a few years ago. By a friend of mine, Steve Mills. I'll give him a shout out. He's a member of a Metal Detecting Club, Derbyshire Diggers, I think they're called. But I've just pulled one out, 1983. You'll like this. I've got loads of copies of these, but there's a 1983 copy of Treasure Hunting magazine. And the editor at the time was Greg Payne, and the assistant editor was Lynn Wineland. And this magazine was actually 95p. So from 1983, 37 years, it's only gone up £2.15, something like that. Yeah. So is that right? No, £3.15, isn't it? So and look at the machine he's got on the front, a Coin Master, on the beach with a Coin Master. And they're actually that way. That's better. Some of the articles in it as well. I was reading one a couple of weeks ago. It was a bit profound. It was actually a treasure hunting magazine. Not long before my mum died, she found a copy of the treasure hunting magazine. It was my dad's, and I opened it. And before I got back into metal detecting and started the magazine, I was actually paranormal investigator for a number of years. The scientific study of, as opposed to the I see dead people type. And I opened the magazine, which was my dad's, which I'd never seen in the house. And there was an article about the paranormal and metal detecting, i.e. people who were having paranormal experiences while metal detecting, like, for instance, being given a push to one particular area, having something telling them to metal detect over there, that when they do, they've found something exciting. Or I know Mike Hare of I forgot the podcast. All Metal Mode. Mike Hare. I know he had a thing where he witnessed something. I know there's somebody who's witnessed while metal detecting alleged ghost somewhere. And as I say, it was just profound that I opened the magazine and there it was. There's an article here. Can't see who it's by, but there's a chap who is discussing the C-Scope TR440. In the letters page, read the article in January issue Treasure Hunting Magazine asking for details of the attitude of local museum. I must say that we in Bolton are very lucky. We enjoy very good relationships with our local museum. it's the question. The letters are basically the same as they would be today about relationships with our own. For instance, with our archaeologists, with finds liaison officers.
Oh,
Nice 2 pages of Joe and Alan. Look at that.
nice black and white. It's interesting.
Black and white.
You know about.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at that on the back. A Garrett.
I'll make one of them in my shed.
A Via. I don't even know what that is. It is a metal detector. Yes, of course it is. A Garrett Master Hunter ADS3.
Yeah.
Enough of that for the night. I'll be on it all night otherwise.
It's funny you say about that, Chris, Addicted to Bleeps. I love following his channel. He's a really interesting guy. He did a video a few months back where he kept having distortions appear on his phone. Sudden gusts of wind. He felt someone was there, and I've had a few similar experiences where I don't know. You just feel like you shouldn't be there, and you I don't know. This weekend I went in a forest, very old forest. I was on my own. I just didn't feel right. I really didn't. And my mate, James Newman, who's on there now, the new permission we got just before Christmas. There was only one other detectorist who was on that land, 28 odd fields, that detects with us. Never spoken to him, an old guy. And he kept himself to himself. You sort of see him in the other field waving, he'd wave, and that was it. Well, unfortunately, he passed away in November. But we still see his footprints in the mud since it's been raining heavily and all that. And my mate went detecting the other week, and he was just about to dig up. I think it was a hammered. He just pulling a hammer out, and he felt someone tap him on the shoulder. And he's not like me, you know. He's not. He doesn't sit up at night watching paranormal things and all that stuff. Genuinely freaked him out. And I've had similar sort of things where I don't know whether it's because you're in that zone when you're detecting, everything else is turned off and you're relaxed, but it's funny to think that you do pull something out of the ground that is hundreds of years old, and you are the first person to touch that. I don't know. It's an interesting thing. So,
do you know, it's also something that was semi-touched upon in the TV series, The Detectorist, where Lance found his gold, and then his luck went appalling thereafter until he put the gold back in the ground. Yeah,
he did. He had the curse. Yeah, it's weird that. I don't know. Detecting is such a funny hobby. You really zone out. I do anyway. Proper zone out. You know, that phone in the back pocket.
It's like what we were talking about earlier, Adrian, where you said about not doing videos of metal detecting on YouTube. I'm exactly the same. If I went to a location, for instance, I'm going to be going to the Bridestones Neolithic Burial Cairn, which is in Congleton, basically where I live. I pass it every day, and I keep promising to go up and do a video discussing the Neolithic Burial Cairn, the history and what have you. And well, there's a lot. I wrote a big article, and I won't go into it now, but I'll do that. That won't be a problem. But metal detecting, I can't walk around the field videoing it. As you said, it just, you're zoned out. You don't want to do that, for me personally.
Yeah.
And also, I don't think I'd be knowledgeable enough to discuss the finds that I find on camera. And also, I can't be bothered getting my phone out every 5 minutes and videoing. Well, and I know a lot of people got GoPros, but
yeah,
I'd rather leave it. The people who we watch are, for me, the people who know what they're doing, and I'd rather leave it to them as opposed to me doing videos that aren't very good in that respect.
Hats off to them, because for me now, you know, I don't need a television license. I just sit there and watch the subscribed YouTube channels on not just metal detecting, but mainly metal detecting. It's like TV porn for me. I just sit there watching detecting all night or evening, you know, when everyone's out, the kids are out and that. I love it. I really do. But I like reading at the same time. It's, you know, I travel a bit with work, and when I'm away, I've got a copy of Treasure Hunting magazine or one of the publications from Greenlight Publications. It's just nice to sit with a book or a magazine and flick through it. Like I said, YouTube's great and I enjoy it, but I do sometimes ending up, you know, like how to change your clutch and how the cigarette was invented. It's always, you know, but But going back to Treasure Hunting magazine, it's funny that my dad used to work in magazine distribution back in the 70s and 80s, and he used to bring magazines home, and he used to bring Treasure Hunting magazine home. And as a kid, I used to read it and get all excited about the gold treasure. And little did I think I'd be writing for it. So it's a great.
Do you know what? Exactly the same story, but my dad worked at a place called Consolidated Bathurst in Ellesmere Port, formerly known as Bowwaters, and all the local.
Bowwater Publications, was it?
No, Bowwater. They made paper, basically, rolls and rolls of paper, but the big industrial things, and all the old the magazines that were wanted and they were sent, sent back or haven't sold. They all came to Bowwaters to be remade into normal paper. And when my dad was on nights, the amount of comics and things that he used to bring home me was phenomenal. Everyone wanted to go in my comics. I've recently got rid of all of them, but honestly, the things that he brought home, that's what got me into comics. And in the early 80s was my dad bringing me stuff home from work all the time. And that's, the knowledge of Marvel and DC I've got is brilliant because of it.
Yeah, I read everything from Practical Caravanner right through to which was like the low-end Kama Sutra magazine when I was about 14, which I shouldn't have done. But I used to read so much stuff, really, really did. But Treasure Hunting magazine, it's been going back a long time. It's been out there a long time, and there's some really good articles in it. I love reading it.
Well, I've just pulled one out just random from 1983. I don't know what the earliest it is, and they probably go way back before that. Yeah. So do you enjoy doing your writing and your testing, what have you?
Yeah. I find it therapeutic. I don't watch any YouTube channel. I watch YouTube, but if someone's doing an article or review on the Vanquish or the Macro or the Rutus or the Gold Mask or whatever, I will not watch it on YouTube. I will steer away from it, and I will go out there with an open mind. Like the Vanquish, I went out as a beginner machine. I didn't read the instructions or anything. I just literally took it out of the box like the average sort of screen age you would, or young kid or whatever, and turned it on and went off with it. And then I take the photos, enjoy taking the photos, some fancy ones, nice ones, and just get home and I write up, probably up till 1 a.m, write a review, go to bed, lay there thinking what I've forgotten, get up, change it all again. So yeah, I really, really enjoy it. Really enjoy writing. I think it's good for you.
Well, I've wrote articles, I've wrote books, I've wrote stuff on the website, and sometimes it's easier than other times. But yeah, when you get into the groove, I mean, I hate typing. If I could do it where I'm just solely speaking and telling it what to do, and I know you can do that, but it always ends up they have to go back and rewrite it anyway because they don't know the words and the full stops.
When I was 18, I did an apprenticeship in the print, and one of the things they taught me was touch typing for typesetting, which I thought, when the hell am I going to use this before computers properly evolved? And it's been great for me in life because I can type in the dark. I can about 40 words a minute, so it helps me a lot. So yeah, being able to type and do retouching of photos and stuff.
One of the listeners has asked, and I think it'll be easy for me to say it in this manner. Have you got any links to articles online at all that the people can read?
If you go to, there's one on Treasure Hunting magazine. They write so many articles. There's so many that don't publish them. I think if you go to treasurehuntingmagazine.co.uk, there's some field tests in there and bits. I don't think there's one I wrote. Some old ones. But if you go to Rutus, Rutus.com, under articles, I think there is an article on the Rutus Alter one I wrote. Yes, there is. It's the version 2 software which came out, last year, year before, for the Rutus 71. I think I did about 6 or 7 pages on the Rutus version 2 software. So yeah, there's a few on there, but I try and keep them in print rather than online. Nothing really, but yeah, if you buy, I've written quite a long article on the Vanquish, considering I've only had it for 20 hours.
I'm just looking at the article on the Rutus website. It's also got the expert team on there as well.
Yeah,
Tony Gaylor looks very very festive with his TARDIS jumper on and his flat cap. I think what are they going for? The Flat Cap Society as well as on in with Luke and Tony.
Yeah, he might be losing his hair like me, so he wears a hat. So yeah, possibly. But yeah, Tony. I met Tony at Detectable for the first time last year. Great guy.
Rodney Cook. I met him, and then obviously thereafter.
His YouTube channel, TC Detects, really good, especially if you've got a Rutus. If you haven't got a Rutus machine, it's interesting to watch and Tony's finds. So take a look at that.
As before, I'll do a plug again. www.archmdmag.tv will take you to our new TV station, and that's actually got a TC Detect. What they called playlist on their channel. So obviously you can pop in there, and obviously if you subscribe, you'll see when we've got new stuff added and whatnot. But it's not obviously not just Tony. As I said, there's a number of other people who've got channels on there. One of them, interestingly, is a chap called Martin Zero. Now, Martin Zero, I think he's done a very, very slight bit of metal detecting, and he's agreed to come on in a couple of weeks when he's not at work, but his videos, to me, are absolutely fantastic. The one I was introduced to is called The Secret Trap Door Under the Canal. Now, it's based in Manchester. When they drained a certain part of Manchester Ship Canal, there's a plug hole there, and it's the video. He's talking about it. He takes you there. Goes into with the builders who are on site. He goes in there, RDAT, etc., and shows you the plug hole. And the plug hole was used just in case there was ever an issue. They pull the plug hole, and the water from the canal will drain directly to the existing river underneath. Absolutely fascinating.
Oh, I think
and as I say, there's multiple other videos that he's actually done.
I think I've seen
Harecastle Tunnel, Mudlarking and Matted, Secret Trapdoor, Narrowboats, everything northern.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really, really interesting.
Yeah, really, really good, actually.
And we've also, second chap who's we've agreed to come on in a couple of weeks, his name is Marius Milker. Now, Marius Milker, he He conducts photogrammetry of heritage, scuba exploration of archaeological sites, and metal detecting. He's a Polish chap who spends his time between England, Poland, and Croatia. When he's on the show on the 27th of February, he'll be in Croatia. And the photogrammetry, absolutely awesome. He's got multiple, how can I explain it? 3D models. So if you go onto his 3D models, they are absolutely pristine images. There's one of a Roman ship, and you can see all the big old, the vessels, like big vases that used to have oils and stuff in. You can see them perfectly, how it's been photographed from so many angles and making this model. But you can move it round, and then it's got the little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Click on for the master and what have you. So he's coming on in a couple of weeks. I'm really looking forward to chatting to him. And I spoke to Daryl Miklos, who I'm hoping to get onto the Big Metal Detecting podcast from the program Cooper's Treasure on TV. And when he started talking about his scuba diving and some of the things that he was finding, I was absolutely fascinated. So very much looking forward to speaking to Marius. And we've tied down another big guest, and it's somebody I'm so thankful that he's going to come on, and I'm sure a lot of people be loving to hear him as well. His name is Mr. Mark Betcher of the Metal Detectorists and of Detectable, and he's coming on the show in early March, and we're going to obviously discuss all things metal detectives and Detectable, which will be, I think, about 4, 5, 6 weeks after it'll be Spring Detectable. So we're looking forward greatly to speaking to Mark as well. And also tonight, I haven't set a date yet. That's Brad, who a lot of people in the chat room know, and met again for the first time at Detectable. That's Brad will be coming on the show when I set a date with him, because be rushing around trying to get everything right before I didn't get to the diary to see, but I've got a few dates in mind for himself anyway. And I also need, because he said at any time, Mr. Julian Evan Hart has agreed to come on the show as well. So really, really looking forward to continuing chatting to him about his the history of metal detecting, treasure hunting magazine, and other bits and bobs that he's been involved with since the last time we spoke. So there's a brief rundown of what's occurring in the coming weeks anyway. So keep an eye on the Big Metal Detecting radio show Facebook page. We'll also see us on the Archaeology and Metal Detecting Magazine Facebook group, and the Archaeology and Metal Detecting Facebook page, which has probably about 15 different articles, archaeological metal detecting articles appearing on it every day. A lot of people behind the scenes taking part in images, sharing other stuff. But as I say, our main thing at the moment is archmdmag.tv. I'd appreciate your subscription. As I say, you can go there and find anyone, and obviously anyone who wants to contact us, and we'll go through their videos and potentially set up a channel for them on there as well, because that's what we're about, is giving people information without having to look for it, giving people information for free. I know YouTube and what have you is free, but come via us and you'll be able to see things that probably didn't interest you. One of the things we are going to be putting on this weekend is experimental archaeology. So you're going to be seeing Iron Age houses built. You're going to be seeing clay pipes manufactured. You're going to be seeing coin striking, spindle wheels, what they were used for. So you get an idea from behind the scenes of the factual type of things that you find in yourself, how they came into existence. So very much looking forward to and hopefully next week we're going to have another big announcement about something archaeology and metal detecting. In fact, we might even have two things, but one definitely. Luke spoke to me yesterday about something that he's got in the building process at the moment. So we're looking for that greatly. This weekend, myself and Luke will be spending our time with the National Council for Metal Detecting at a meeting in Northampton. And hopefully, if there is any information that we can discuss publicly, we certainly will let you know as soon as possible. So we're looking forward. And it's one of them occasions when me and Luke actually get to spend time together and discuss everything that we're doing. It's difficult to actually, because we live so far apart, to do that. So it's usually Detectable, Rodney Cook, etc., that we see each other. But this weekend we're going to be having a good old chin wagon discussing all and sundry about the magazine there. So and the future of everything that we're doing. Tony, I'm reading because his TC's just popped up. Adrian, have you got anything else you'd like to add before we let these good people go to bed?
No, I'd just say the one with Julian. I've known Julian just over a couple of years now. Definitely, that show will be interesting. He's like a drug. I went for a drink with him the other day when I was testing the Vanquish. The guy's got so much knowledge of metal detecting, archaeology, World War II, planes. He just, well, Dave, he can talk all day long and he doesn't bore.
Oh, yeah.
Such an interesting guy. I see the comments in the chat, people saying how he's a great guy and he's interesting and stuff. And Lisa, his partner's lovely as well. But yeah, that would be a really good show. That would be something I reckon that will top in the charts.
We spoke to him, I think it was last year with the All Metal Mode podcast. And the first time I met him, Adrian, was at the Detectable 2 years ago, and it was brilliant. We walk around the field just giving my phone to all and sundry, KG and Ringy, Pete Terrell, Delek, etc., etc. We were giving the phone to all and sundry, and I got to Julian, and he disappeared with my phone, and that was the main reason I wanted to listen to the podcast on the way home, to listen to actually what Julian was saying, and it was so good. But we had to get him on the show normal, and obviously it's a massive. It'll be a massive show of respect from ourselves to have him there. It'll be an honour to speak to him again. Yeah. So we're greatly looking forward to that.
A very interesting guy. And one other thing Tony's just put in, Tony, was the Rutus the new Rutus machine will be at Detectable. Not sure if it's spring or summer, but that is looking very, very interesting. That will be waterproof, telescopic shaft, a colour screen, rechargeable battery, and wireless headphones. And if it's as good as the Alter 71, which no doubt I think it will be, possibly with better ergonomics and this kind of screen, I think it'll be a really good machine to have a look at. So pop over to the Rutus stand definitely and see that.
Yeah, something for everyone to look forward to.
But good luck this week with NCMD. I think a lot of people forget the benefits they do to our hobby. Without them, if you look back at the history of how it was formed and how detecting has evolved over the years, they do a lot of good for us as a hobby. We pay that, £7 or whatever it is a year, which is pittance. And, you can go on their website, you get search agreements, you get you've got your insurance, and it's definitely hats off to them. Definitely hats off.
Myself and Luke went for the first time. Well, I went for the first time in November. Luke went once before. And my eyes were opened at the amount of things that actually they do behind the scenes. It's not just about insurance. And Luke said, "Oh, you might get a little bit bored, Dave. There's a lot of stuff that they talk about. The political side of stuff, the governing body type of stuff." I was absolutely fascinated. I must have filled in about 2 notepads of notes, just getting more and more information, and to meet people who exist, but you don't get to communicate with. Alistair Hackett, Steve Critchley, John Rigby, obviously, Wendy Howard. It's great to be able to meet them people publicly and spend a little bit of time with them and sponge in their knowledge as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if anyone's got this month's copy of Treasure Hunting magazine, page 16 is a letter from the National Council on Metal Detecting in regards to certain issues with the Portable Antiquities Scheme report and things. And I think they're voicing the right things about what us detectorists are concerned about, and they're doing a really, really good job of it. And hats off to them.
So if we do have any information that we can pass along, we will certainly be doing that. Greatly looking forward to it, both myself and Luke. Take me about 2.5 hours to get it. It'll take Luke about 4.5 hours, I think, at that time of the day. Anyway, again, for people who were listening on Spreaker earlier, I can only apologise for the technical issues with that. It's probably done by myself when I was trying to change around. When I had the headset on before and I changed back to the microphone and earphones, it was probably at that point it's been popped out and it decided that it didn't want to pop back in. So everybody, all and sundry, I do apologise. Thank you all for coming on tonight. Thank you especially to Adrian for taking part in the show. Adrian.
Thank you to Luke for doing it, because I think as a detectorist, you do it for free, you don't get paid. So thank you very much for setting up such a good show. It's great.
Very appreciate that. And honestly, it's something that we love doing. We really do. And especially now we've found other things that we can expand the what we want to do to people. It's nice to have some feedback. And I do appreciate all and sundry. Me and Luke have never been in this for anything other than wanting to give back. And, I've spent a fortune on this, but what's money really? You got no pockets in your shroud, have you?
No, exactly.
So again, thank you all for listening tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've got no jingle to play out with because we're not on Spreaker now. We're only on the live show. So thank you all for coming. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for sharing. archmdmag.tv. Please, please, please have a look at that. It's going to be changing rapidly over the weekend. There'll be more added to it. There'll be different look at what it is. But please have a look at that and let people know. We'd very much appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dave Sadler. That's Adrian Gaylor. Thank you very, very much, Adrian. Thank you, Luke, behind the scenes. And thank you to everybody who's listening. Good night, everyone.
Night, guys. Thank you.